everyone, I'm going to do a book review about a couple of books about authors. Now, I've read a few this year because I've got a murder mystery that I wanted to write and did write, and who knows whether I've written it by the time I actually put this video up on TikTok. So I will talk about them. Covers will go here. Let's get on with it. The first one is The 3 Lives of Cate by Cate Fagan. So, yeah, pretty good book, but there was a lot of issues. So I'll read out the blurb first. Cate knows how to craft a story. As the creator of a best-selling book trilogy that struck box office gold as a film series, she's one of the most successful authors of her generation. The thing is, Cate doesn't really exist. She's never attended author events or granted any interviews. Her real identity has been a closely guarded secret until now. As a young adult, she and her best friend Amanda dreamed of escaping their difficult homes and moving to California to become movie stars. But the day before their grand adventure, a tragedy shattered their dreams, and Cate has been on the run ever since, taking on different names and charting a new future. But after a shocking revelation, Cate understands that returning home is the only way she'll be a whole person again. Now, I've said in a couple of other books that I hate weak women, in a couple of other videos that I hate weak women in books. This was quite an interesting concept of an author, another book about an author, and why she changes her name and then why she uses a pen name. So she changed her name and then used a pen name. So we've got a few names going on here. As with most of the characters, they need some angst as to make up their why. So her name's Anne-Marie. She changes her name to Cass, and then she writes under Cate K. So she had a pretty interesting reason why she did that, but running away from it made me hate why she did it. It was a weak excuse. Now, I won't give away too much here in case you haven't read it. Her best friend went without her best friend when she needed her the most because Anne was running away for God knows why. Now, the thing that happened before they left was that her friend Amanda said, oh, let's go over to this little island and just mess around for the last time and this, that, the other. And apparently there was like a flying fox that was supposed to cross the pool. It broke and she fell into the pool. So Anne-Marie went, into the empty pool and saw her and said, I'm going to get help. She went and got help, called the Coast Guard, this, that, the other. And the Coast Guard went and found Amanda. But Anne-Marie decided to jump in her car and piss off. Why would you do that? Why would you leave your best friend there? Why? I mean, what a bitch. So, unfortunately, whatever guilt she was feeling over that made her very easy to manipulate by someone she barely knew who consumed her life. And it was the obsessive, controlling nature of her lawyer. And that just pissed me off. It was like, hang on, you've just met this person and you're letting her control your life. And what? Oh, I don't know. There was just something weird about that. And then the lawyer lied and told her that her friend Amanda had died from that accident because she was a controlling bitch. So, why lie about something so catastrophic? It was, and they barely knew each other. Why do that to someone who was so completely devastated by it? Sydney was nothing but a control freak. That was the lawyer. And it took 13 years for Anne to find her way home and back to her best friend. What the fuck? I went back and reread the ending to make sure I got it right. I don't condone why she left, but I do condemn her for her behaviour of leaving everything up to everyone else to deal with instead of getting her life together. So 13 years goes past from when they're 16 to, about 30? Look, overall it was an interesting book, but the piss, weak bullshit of female characters annoys the fuck out of me. I want female characters to fight back and be mature adults and, to get on with shit. And So, look, I gave it 7 out of 10. Overall, it was a decent story, but, yeah, it was just those little nitpicky things that I absolutely hated. Yeah. Okay, so now we move on to You Are Fatally Invited by, try and get this right, Ande Pliego. I've probably butchered that name. Sorry about that. This was really interesting. Okay, blurb. The host, legendary mystery author J.R. Alistair's books are sold all over the world, but no one knows his real name. After years hiding in the shadows, he has sent out 6 invitations to an exclusive murder mystery retreat on his private island. The assistant Mila de Angel has been hired to ensure the week runs smoothly. She has yearned for revenge on a ghost from her past for years, and this could be her chance to get it. The players. The 6 best-selling thriller writers accept their invitations without question. It's an opportunity any author would kill for. The game. What should have been a week of trope-filled games takes a sinister turn when one guest is found dead and the others find themselves in the midst of a nightmare drawn from Alistair's dark imagination. They may have written thrillers, but now they and Mila must survive one. Okay, I'm giving away spoilers. Okay. When I first read the blurb for this book, I was instantly intrigued and checked my local library system to see if they had it. They did, so I reserved it. I waited about 4 months before getting it and read it in about 5 hours, as I'm not one to read a chapter a day. I'm all-in-one, sit down, read it, done kind of gal. By the time I finished this book, I was disappointed to find it was the exact storyline as The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz that I'd read a couple of months before it. Multiple writers attend a retreat by a well-known author. Shit happens to them. Multiple end up dead. The house burns down. And there are 3 left, 2 of which write a book together. Exact same concept. But this one was better. Absolutely better. Having said that, this story was far better than the previous try. At least the reasons for why it was happening were far better. The twists and turns kept me going. And you couldn't tell which character was who and who was doing what. The plot was extremely detailed. There was so much happening. It was sometimes drawn out. A murder happens within chapters, so very quickly on. Something that surprised me is you don't think that what you thought was a good guy would be killed off the way he was. It was quite brutal. You don't see the murder. You see the body after and the way it's displayed. And it's like, whew. And even though the backstories are slowly told, they take the whole book to reveal themselves bit by bit. So it's a slow burn for a whole book, which it can be good, can be, makes you keep on reading to, find out what happens. Thankfully, no character was stupid as fuck or got drunk to piss their pain away and do stupid shit high on drugs. It was very detailed plot with twists and turns and backstory because there were a lot of characters to have backstory for. And the twist at the end, people came back from the dead and some were dead and some were then killed. And it was just, look, kudos for her and to her for, to Ande for figuring this all out. This was I think her debut novel. So, yeah, I absolutely, recommend if you love murder mysteries, you don't have to pick every kind of murder mystery that's set on an island, but I'd absolutely recommend this one. You Are Fatally Invited. I mean, look at that cover. So I gave it 8 out of 10. And, kudos and congrats to her for writing a book that kept me going until the very end to find out why and who and how. And, yeah, it just happened to have that exact same story as probably a dozen other books about writing retreats and being on islands and everything else, which is why mine is going to be slightly different when I end up writing it or have written it, depending on when I release this video. So that was You Are Fatally Invited by Ande Pliego and The 3 Lives of Cate by Fagan. And this has been my book review for those 2 books.